why is it,
Sorry.
why is it that she has these two children and no husband? So where's the husband? And then I have to ask, why is Lakshmi not happy about these two people getting together? So as I start researching the nomads and then researching what they do up in the mountains, and then what kind of herbal remedies this woman would have brought with her with the flora, I start getting new scenes that are forming in my head. And as those new scenes form, I start threading all of the scenes together. And then as they come together, there are some major themes that are arising. One of them is, how do parent-child relationships extricate themselves as the children grow into adulthood? So Lakshmi has been Malik's child minder, basically, for all of these years. She's really been his legal ward, and or his legal custodian. And so how is she going to let go of the fact that he is an adult now and maybe he can handle his own life? She's having a hard time with that in this book, hard time letting go. And then, of course, I have to, do all of this sort of relationship research also in Nimni, and how does this nomadic woman get up enough courage to say, I'm going to leave my tribe and I'm going to take up with this young Muslim man. She herself is Hindu. And so, is that a relationship that is sustainable? Are they going to be able to get together? So these are all just kind of things, that crop up as these scenes come into my head. And then I just start exploring, what if this happened? What if this happened? What if that happened?
Yeah, no, it was very, very unexpected. Like, I started reading, I was like, oh, it's taking different twists and turns, and with the gold and the corruption and the whole thing that's happening. So it took a very unexpected, but in a good way, the very different turn. That's what made a little more interesting for me. Now, corruption is I feel like it's a very serious subject. So what do you feel about that? Like, why did you think that you want to make that subject part of this second book?
I'm not sure that I really started off thinking I'm going to, have corruption in this book. It really just happened because I was researching the nomads. And as I researched them, I realized that many of them are approached by traffickers who are bringing guns and gold and drugs through the northern borders of India. They're coming in through the mountains because there's not a lot of policing there. So they hand off their contraband to the nomads, and then the nomads, because they're so used to trekking up and down the mountains, can bring it down into the foothills, and then from there it is relayed to another group of people who's going to carry it down further. And so I thought, oh, well, this is interesting that sometimes the nomads are used to do this. And then I thought, well, how are they carrying gold? How is anybody hiding gold when they have goats and sheep and water buffalo that they're herding? And how you can't just put things in sacks on the backs of water buffalo and then not expect that somebody's going to dig around and say, oh, look, you're carrying contraband. So how are they hiding this? Well, I read one tiny little line that said that sometimes gold is carried on the sheep. And I thought, well, how is gold carried on the sheep? And then I started watching sheep herding videos and sheep shearing videos and all kinds of sheep videos. And I realized that, first of all, the sheep for these nomads are like their pets. They don't want to get rid of any of these sheep. The sheep are very valuable. They will grow wool every year. That wool can be sold, and then it's parlayed into things that the nomads need. So they love their sheep. They name their sheep. They know everything about, they can identify every sheep individually. And I imagine it's the same in New Zealand or anywhere else where you've got, large herds of sheep. But one of the things that I could not find is how the sheep are carrying gold. So I devised my own idea. And I thought, well, what if you sheared the sheep just a little bit and then you inserted a gold brick in there, and the bricks are just like bullions, right? You inserted a couple of bullions in there and then you sewed the fleece back up. I suppose you could just do that for miles and miles and the sheep is no wiser. And so I just made that a part of the plot. And that is where the idea of corruption came, because I thought, okay, so now who's going to get caught with the gold? How are they going to get caught? What happens when people get caught with a contraband gold? And so that's sort of what led me to then the next part of the story.
Yeah.
I really build the story from A, B, C, D. I never know the whole story until I get to the end.
And to the end. And I guess that makes it more interesting. The other part that was very interesting to me, I know obviously I grew up in India, and when you made your accountant character who is middle-aged, gay, in 1970s. The story is set in 1970s. So you made your 1970 middle-aged man character gay, which is even today in India, this subject is, I would still call it taboo. It's not, it's not an easy subject to talk about. And so what made you make this character a certain way in 1970s?
So the Secret Keeper takes place in 1969, so it's even a little bit earlier than that. But what happened is that my father, reads my drafts, and he always provides lots of great political and economic background of what was happening in India in different eras. And so after he read one of my drafts, he said, honey, I really like this novel, but you have left out a part of the population that is always fighting to be seen and to be heard. And they've been around forever, whether we have acknowledged them or not. But all of a sudden now, in India also, there are a lot of demonstrations of LGBTQ people. And you don't have any one of those characters in your book. And I thought, oh my gosh, it takes my 89-year-old father to tell me how insensitive I am being. And so I thought, absolutely, he's right. He's right. I really, I should. And so I figured out which character would be the best person for me to incorporate that lifestyle. And then I realized, it actually made the plot richer to have him be that kind of person who is having to keep this huge secret because it's not okay for him to be gay in 1969 India, but he has to go along with the corruption because otherwise he risks exposure for his lifestyle. And so, it actually made the plot better to have him there.
Yeah. Have you heard any backlash about anything, or it was received very well?
Not at all. And it's doing very well in India. So yeah. And I think especially because the people who are going to read The Secret Keeper in English in India, I think are a little more woke, they're a little more aware of the different kinds of folks that do exist, and this idea of justice for everyone.
Yeah. Oh no, that was very interesting. Again, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Thank you for doing that. It was great.
And also, Pinki, I do think that it's important for people to realize that gay people didn't just come here 5 years ago or 10 years ago. They've always been among us. We just didn't used to acknowledge them or talk about them. But I think it is important for us to just acknowledge that there are all these different facets of society that exist among us, and if they are being productive in our society, if they're contributing to our society, we owe them respect.
I agree. Absolutely. So as I said, I was following you on Instagram and I was following your journey. You just came back from Paris. You were researching your third book. Do you want to share what you did?
Yeah. So I had learned a long time ago what was going to also happen in Radha's future life. I knew she was going to marry a Parisian who was traveling through the Himalayas. I knew that she was going to go to France. I knew she was going to become a perfumer. This was like set in stone about 8 years ago when I first came up with that particular epilogue. And I ended up putting that epilogue in book number 2, as opposed to book number 1, because I had an editor who said, no, we don't need to go that far ahead in time. We just need to know what's happening 6 months ahead of time. Okay. So I already know that she is in Paris in 1974. She is now a lab assistant to a master perfumer. Radha was so good at mixing the henna paste and the henna artist. She was so good at mixing the paints for old man Munchi in her village that, you know, she just became really good at mixing the ingredients that go into perfume. And because she grew up in India, where fragrances are everywhere, right? I mean, India is like a fragrance cornucopia. The moment you step off of, you know, a plane or a train or a bus or whatever, you're just surrounded by coconut hair oil and incense and, you know, just all kinds of fragrances.
Absolutely.
So, so of course she has almost an Eastern slant to the ingredients that she uses because she loves all of those heavy fragrances. And it turns out she is on the cusp of designing a signature scent for her boss. She's going to get to the next level in her career. She has 2 little girls she's also raising at the same time. And what's going to happen is there's a knock on her door in the 6th arrondissement where she lives in Paris. And so I get to talk a lot about Paris in the book, which is going to be fun for me. And the person at the other end is going to give her the shock of her life because she has not seen that person in 18 years. So that's going to be book number 3. And so what I was doing in Paris is to learn from the master perfumers how our fragrance is created. Did you know, for instance, Pinki, that every fragrance that we put on our body has 3 notes? The first is called a top note. And that is usually like a citrusy note, something that's kind of lemony or, you know, lavendery or something like that. It disappears within the first 15 minutes to an hour. The heart note, which is the middle note, is going to last for about an hour to 8 hours or something like that. And then the note that lasts the longest is the base note. And that's the heaviest fragrance that we put into every perfume. So that includes sandalwood oil. It includes things like ambergris from Wales. It includes civet. It includes musk from the musk deer. So these are very, you know, heavy, earthy, animalistic kind of scents also. So those are the ones that last the longest on our skin of any fragrance. And many of those base notes are harvested in India. So Radha is going to have not only a knowledge of the base notes that go into perfume, but she's going to want to incorporate more of the more Eastern fragrances into what she's creating. Wow. So, you know, I was talking to perfumers. I went to perfume factories. I went to places where they compound, you know, like they start with the little formula that was designed by the perfumer, and they turn it into huge vats, you know, that are then going to be bottled. So it was really fun. I was in Paris. I was in Grasse, which is in the southeastern part of France, where a lot of the fragrances are actually pulled together and bottled. And then I was in Lisbon, where I met with 3 other perfumers who lived there. So yeah, it was a great experience. I'm exhausted because really I was just running around all day trying to get from one place to another and take notes and, you know, make sure that I was getting what I needed for my book.
Did you create any signature fragrance?
Well, as a matter of fact, I did take a perfume making class while I was there. And it was just kind of a, you know, it was just kind of a fun class. It wasn't, you know, for a master perfumer or anything like that. But yes, I ended up creating a fragrance with 3 ingredients. Now, most fragrances, by the way, have hundreds of ingredients, hundreds. Yes. It's hard to believe, right? But they have hundreds of ingredients. We just use 3 ingredients because we're just amateurs. But I brought it back, and it's fun. You know, after I wash my hair, I put it in my hair, and that way it lasts all day. Like, you know, if you put perfume in your hair, it kind of lasts all day, and every time you move, the scent sort of goes everywhere.
You know what? I'm going to use that tip. Tomorrow, Sabina, you might smell nice fragrance coming from my That's a good one. What a fun trip you just had.
Yes. Okay, here's another thing I learned. Somebody told me a long time ago, spray the perfume in the air and then walk into it. Have you ever heard that before?
I have seen it, but I thought it's a funny trick they do on TV.
Yeah, and then it turns out these master perfumers told me, don't do that. That is just something that somebody on TV made up a long time ago or whatever. Yeah. They said, that don't do that. Perfume is meant to be on your skin. It's meant to be, where you can where it can actually interact with your skin, like behind your ears, right?
Yeah.
And along your neck and on your wrists.
Yeah, I usually do this,
Oh, and okay, so that's the other thing. Don't rub. So just So they said, put the perfume oil here and here, and then just sort of let it dry naturally.
Oh my God, I'm learning wrong things from the TV shows and movies.
Yeah, it's a very closed and secretive kind of world. So, like, why don't we know all of these things? We should know these things, right? But the people who spray perfume on us as we walk through Macy's or as we walk through Bloomingdale's or whatever, those are not people who were trained in perfumery. They are just people who are selling, something that they were assigned to sell. So that's why they don't know how a perfume should actually be worn, how they should tell you. And then the other thing that the perfumers told me is never buy a perfume when you just smell it, off of a perfume counter. You want to wait at least a day, because you want to know that by the time the base notes are the only things left, that you still like the smell of that perfume, because the base notes are going to last the longest. So, and you won't be able to smell them right away. You can only smell them after several, hours have gone by.
Hey, we just got a mini, a class in perfumery. Thank you. That was fabulous. So you just shared a great news with me and Sabina before everybody were joining. If you want to share that with everybody about the show, that's we'd love to hear that.
So, last year I had a production company option the right to produce the Henna Artist as a TV series. They option the right, which means they have 18 months to make good on that option. They have 18 months to do something with it. Otherwise, it reverts back to me, and I can sell it to someone else. Well, they made good on their option. They put together a great team of people who then went out and pitched the Henna Artist to many different streaming platforms. They pitched to 5 different platforms, and Netflix won. So all of them, said, yes, we would love to produce the Henna Artist. And so Netflix is now developing the Henna Artist, and it's an official thing that I can talk about. So that is really exciting. And Frida Pinto, of course, will star as Lakshmi. Right now, Frida is about 9 months pregnant. I mean, she is like super pregnant. she's ready to deliver her first baby. So she'll be sort of beyond that phase by the time she gets to filming Lakshmi. And we'll be filming hopefully in late 2022 or early 2023, right about the time that book number 3 comes out.
Yeah, what a timing. Any other character has been assigned to any other actors that we might know? No.
So I think, so the way that it goes is, first they write the episodes, they get Netflix to approve the episodes or, make suggestions for changes or whatever. And then once they have like scripts that have been signed off on, then they can go and hire they can do the casting, they can hire the crew, they can figure out what, who's going to be the director, who's going to be the cinematographer. Wow. And it's all going to take place in India. So this is why Frida Pinto is so involved, because she has all of those contacts in South Asia, and she's worked with a lot of them doing movies. So yeah.
Now, are you going to be the part of the shooting process? Are you going to be present when it's getting done?
I want to be, yes. I would like to be in India at the time. I want to sit in one of those director's chairs, with my name across the back.
Absolutely, yeah, perfect. Wow, yeah. Congratulations again. This is amazing, great news. We can't wait to watch it.
And, one of the things that I think Netflix is trying to do, and of course, the production team of Michael Edelstein is trying to do also, is they're trying to bring a more diverse content to these streaming platforms, so that we're not just seeing stories about different parts of the world that are written by Americans. Let's have stories in different parts of the world written by the people who actually live there and can understand it day to day. So I think this is a really good sign. The article that just came out with Netflix's cooperation, basically, they're saying we really want to focus on getting some material out there that is South Asian in nature. So I think that 99% of the folks that are going to be working on this production, including the writers, are females, and 75% of all of those are South Asian, which I think is fantastic.
It is fantastic. Do you think it's going to be bilingual or mainly in English with the Hindi maybe inserted in between?
I think it's going to be mainly in English and probably spoken just the way that it's written, with a little bit of Hindi, scattered here and there.
Yeah.
And then it is meant to be a global TV series. So I think probably they'll do subtitles in all the different languages that it's going to go in.
Of course.
After I get done talking to you today, I'm supposed to record a hello to the Swedish audience, which is now reading the Henna Artist. And I just think that is so adorable. Like, here are the Swedes who don't really do henna, but they love this book. Like they can't get enough of it. So I'm going to record a little hello, Sweden.
Oh, no, this is you. Congratulations again for, everything that's happening. We are so excited and can't wait to watch it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And also, so last week or the week before, even while I was in Europe, I did an interview with Cosmo Russia.
Russia, okay.
I didn't even know that Russia had, I didn't even know Cosmo was published in Russia, but why not? They have all those beautiful Russian women, those tall, light, Russian women.
Yeah, wow. Very global, huh?
Yes.
Everywhere.
And who would have thought that at the age of, now I'm 63, with all this gray hair and the wrinkles on my face, who would have thought that I would be in Cosmo and Elle magazines at this age, you guys?
That's fantastic. Fantastic. Wow. I guess I'm only talking now. I want to actually open up to our people and see if they have any questions or what they want to share their thoughts, what they thought while they were reading. So I'll open it up to the crowd. Guys, raise your hand or just unmute yourself and speak away.
Please, yes. Ask me anything. Ask me anything. Oh, Amy, yes, she's our first questioner. Yes.
Well, thank you for being here. I've been so excited ever since the first Books and Beyond with you. I've been waiting for this next one. I loved the book. Thank you for writing it and for writing another one.